Here we have a character that was rigged earlier in the step-by-step guide to rigging a fuse character video. If you haven't seen that, there will be a link in the description. Now I have re-rigged this character, only this time we've added a facial rig. Just remind you, I'm not an animator or a 3D artist, but let's see what this thing can do and then we can check how to set it up.
Welcome to Paragon. If you wish to enter the trials, you must first learn the way. Welcome to Paragon. If you wish to enter the trials, you must first learn the way.
Okay, the FPS drop with the shading on is quite significant, but that's not really representative of what it looks like in the engine. It's a lot smoother. This result is almost entirely automatic. All I did was break down this sound file with an application into phonemes, and then I just had to make a bunch of poses and store them in the post library. And by the way, this is the new post library that will be in Blender 2.8. It's not part of the official distribution yet, but I understand that it shall be. Right now you can grab this from the Blender Institute. I'll leave a link in the description along with the app to break the sound file into phonemes. Then I just used an add-on to convert the broken phonemes directly into keys. So basically, yeah, I did nothing. Now this importer has still not been released for 2.8, but I kind of just customized it and brought it up. But I think the original author hasn't updated it yet. But this video is more about how to set the facial rig, and then you can do stuff like this. And one thing I should mention is that this animation is entirely joint based, so there are no shape keys or morph targets involved, and that has some consequence for the engine. I think personally that it makes the code simpler, because this is simply another animation. It might be a run cycle or a walk cycle, except that I can mark it as an additive and just plaster it on top of anything, and I don't have to keep track of numbers for the alpha for the shape keys or morph targets. Of course, this also means that a skilled animator can really push this by employing shape targets, or rather shape keys and morph targets, to like you could layer that on top of this. And if you see here closely, you can see that his whole face is moving, and you can almost see muscles tensing and relaxing on the side of his face. So I think this is, it's a lot more than what I had originally wanted. I would have been happy with just with a moving jaw, but this is really good. If we take a look at some of these rig bones, let's take a look at the original deformation bones made by Rigify. Now, the same as the rest of the skeleton, we can't actually use these bones because they're all mixed up with the mechanism bones, plus they're all mixed up with the rest of this entire skeleton. So you can't actually use these without importing everything. So in the Uefy script will make a separate copy of these bones and simplify them, so the only thing that we get out of this are the deformation bones themselves. So we'll get one face bone, and then everything is tied to it. So this is a lot simpler. There are no extra pointless bones in there. Everything deforms something, and this will work just fine with the Unreal Engine, because we're going to put this on top of the epic skeleton, right? So you're not going to interfere with the primary chain, and well, basically this works out. Now, in order to set this up, let's go to a blank character. Now, I'm not going to do the entire rig, that just take forever, but well, I'll give you an idea of what needs to be done, and this is kind of the final result that you're looking for. Before we head over to that, let's also take a look at some of these controls. So if I was to turn off these bones, you can see that these are the basic face controls. You can control the eyes, or together or separately, the jaw, the tongue, and the teeth. There's also a control for the nose, right? and then there are more controls that give, you know, like kind of like a finer resolution. So if we want to close the eyes, you could do something like this. Now, this weight painting, it's automatic. It was done by Blender, so you know, when you touch this up, it's going to work even better than this is. I guess this kind of does need some improvements, and then there are even a third layer of controls for even more complicated animations. So let's take this to a new file and see how we can possibly set this up. Here we have the same character from the step-by-step videos. Now I have already removed the rotation and everything is ready for the meta rig, so I'm going to hide the mannequin, bring up the meta rig. I've already positioned the spine, so all we need to do now is select some of these options and pose the meta rig. So this time we don't want to remove the face, and these two bones, the chest and pelvis, these are basically for automatic weight painting, right? So these help support automatic weight painting for deformations. We'll look at these in another video. And we want one twist, and might as well just add the other twist as well, right? So that's for the meta rig. And when we build the skeleton, this time we'll want the face. Okay, if you remove the face here, you have to add the face there. And since we remove these here, we can't use these here. And these two automatically update. I guess at some point I'll update the script so all of these things happen automatically, but for now you have to do it manually. So select the armature meta rig and scroll up here, make sure these are correct. This is the character's armature, the Unreal Engine for mankind. I guess we don't need this anymore, and that's the meta rig. So we're going to use a custom mapping. This is a fuse character. Setup character bones has already been done, so just pose the meta rig and that should work. Okay, the limbs have been updated. The spine was already in place, so now we just need to position the face. Now what we can do is to just select the meta rig and turn off the original armature, and then we can go into edit mode, and in the armature properties scroll up to where the bone layers are, and for the meta rig, this very first layer that contains the face rig. So if we select only this, hide it, or everything else gets automatically hidden. So that's easy to work with, but we don't want that just now. So I'm going to bring back everything. I'm going to select the base of the head bone, do Shift S, cursor to selected. Then I'm going to select the face bone and do Shift S, selection to cursor. Right now we can just select the face and hide everything else because we don't need any of that. Now it's best to position it by parts. What I mean is, first I'm just going to focus on the eyes. So the 1 key to go to the front, confirm it's on median point. Yeah, that would work. Control I to invert the selection. Then I'm just going to press the S key, scale everything down, and I'm trying to match the eyes. Right, just the eyes. It doesn't matter if the rest of everything fits or not. G key, Z to lock axis, bring that down. 3 key, side views, right? G key, bring it down some more, and G, bring it over here. Just put the eyes right where they're supposed to be, and don't worry about the size of the rest of everything. We'll fix that in a minute. Z key to lock the axis, and like that. 3 again, and well, you get the idea, right? So with the eyes reasonably in place, I'm going to bring the cursor to one of these eye bones and press Shift L. Right, hang on. A to select everything, deselect the face bone 1, bring the cursor over one of these eye bones and do Shift L, and similarly Shift L on this, Shift L on that, Shift L again and again. Right, so 1 key, and now I can just scale everything back up like so. Now I'm trying to match the ears roughly, And alright, this area needs to be a bit lower, so G, Z, bring it like so. That looks roughly right. 3 key, right? Maybe we want to rotate it some like so. G key, Y. So you get the idea, right? Placing these bones is not all that difficult. Okay, so how can we do this? Well, we want to put this bit here right on the edge of the lips. Now, one thing you have to be careful about is that, well, you cannot break any of these connections. Some of these bones are kind of locked together, but others are just overlapping on the ends. So for all of those bones, you have to move them together or you will break the rig. So move this there, move. See, if I do this, I'm kind of breaking the rig right here. So I will use the B key, box select this bit, and now I can move the whole thing like so. So Alt A, B to select that bit, move that there, move this bone like so, right? And then, well, I need this, that, there. Well, no, that'll take forever. What I want to do is just box select them like that. And then with the C key, I can deselect these two and the face bone. Right, and maybe I also want to deselect the teeth, the tongue, and the lower teeth, and also bits of the tongue here. Right, now I can just do G, lock the axis, bring that down like so. Now I'm not going to do the entire rig, but I'll just tell you the important bits that you have to take care about. Alright, so these bones here, you want to place them inside the lips, and these bones here, you want to put them right on the corner, but not inside the mesh, right on the surface, right? So for the lips, the inner lips, you want to put them right in the middle of the mesh. Same for the eyelids only. For everything else, put it directly on the surface. That tends to give the best result. So just don't break any of these connections, and the rest is just dragging, rotating, scaling. Now I'm not going to go through all of that, so let's take a look at a more finished result. Alright, this is what we're going for. When you're placing these bones, you're going to want to turn in front on and off just to make sure that you are actually on the surface and not going too far above or inside. Now, as you can see, we put this connection right there, and you also want to take advantage of the topology of your mesh. So if I was to select this, you'll see there's a loop here. So I tried to place some of these connections where they will take advantage of the loops to help in deformation. This one should probably be in a bit lower, and well, honestly, like I said, I'm not a 3D artist or an animator, but I do know that these loops are important to deformation, and with a bit of experimentation, you can probably get a very decent result if you just manage this a little. But even with the placements that I have made, as you saw at the beginning of this video, when he talks, his face, you can almost see the muscles moving. Now, for the lips, you have to place the bones on the inside. Same for the eyelids, and maybe some of this fleshy bit here. For all of the other bones, you just want them skimming the surface, and that gives a fairly decent result. Let's put them in front, and of course the eye bones have to be right in the middle of the eyeball, and otherwise, you'll be cross-eyed if you don't do that. And alright, these bones here, this is where the jaw will rotate from, right? So you want to put this roughly level with the bottom of the ear, right? So when he talks, let's go into pose mode and into the rig, right? We'll also look at the face bones if we can. So I'm going to select the jaw control, R to rotate, double X to lock the X-axis, and as you can see, when you move this one control, nearly the entire face is moving. The lips move, the jaw moves, the nose is also being affected, part of the cheeks right here, this area is also moving. So yeah, this jaw control really shakes things up. And if you move the eyes, you see the eyeballs move, but so do the eyelids. And if you go far enough high, this secondary row of bones will cause deformations above the eye socket. Now once these bones are in place, you'll want to select this layer to bring up the bones that will that is the export chain, the one made by Uefy Script. There will be no weight painting available for this. So what we're going to want to do is to select only the facial rig, so just this layer, that's for the export, and we will go into first we want to deselect the face bone, right? So just the facial rig minus the face bone, then you can go into pose mode, shift select the mesh, and then go into weight painting mode. Now we can just do weights and assign automatic from bones. Now I'm not going to do that here because it'll mess up my mesh, but that will weight paint only these bones onto the mesh. Now one thing that you'll have to take care of is to flood fill the eyes, because the eyelids will have an influence on the eyeballs. So just flood fill the eyes, and the rest should just work as is, or at least that's how it worked out for me. Now I'm going to end this video here. If you would like to see a step-by-step video for the entire process of weight painting the facial rig, do let me know in the comments. If enough people say so, maybe I'll look into it. And that's it for now, and thanks for watching.